Guess who they can't escape, not even when their eyes are closed. Guess who lingers in their thoughts no matter how hard they try to move on. You've become the ghost haunting every quiet moment they have, the name that cracks their voice when they try to speak it aloud, the memory that sneaks in uninvited at 3 a.m. when they lie there wondering where everything went wrong. You. It's always been you. And now, when it's too late, when every door is locked and every bridge is turned to ash, they're finally realizing what they had. They're finally seeing what they lost. And it's hitting them hard, brick after brick, until they can barely breathe under the weight of their own regret. Right now, you want to know what's really happening. They're scrolling through their phone, typing your name into search bars at 2 a.m., then deleting it before pressing enter because they're terrified of what they might find. They're stalking your silence like it's a language they never learned to speak. They're casually asking mutual friends about you, pretending it's nothing, fooling no one. They act indifferent, but their hands shake when someone mentions your name. Something shifted, something clicked. The universe finally whispered the truth they've been running from. You were the rare one, the exception, the irreplaceable. They thought you were ordinary. They thought you were just another option in a world full of choices. They thought they could find someone better, easier, softer, someone who wouldn't challenge them or see through their act or demand they grow. They believed you were replaceable, disposable, forgettable. And oh, how confident they were in that delusion. They walked away like it was nothing. Like you were nothing, like everything you gave, everything you were, was just another experience they could easily recreate with someone else. They treated your presence as guaranteed, assumed you'd always be there waiting, ready to come back, no matter how many times they chose someone or something else over you. But here's what's destroying them now, the thought that keeps them up at night, the regret that makes them sick. You didn't come back. You didn't wait. You didn't chase or beg. You didn't play the fool waiting by the phone. You just left. And in that silence, in that unshakable refusal to give them any more of your energy, you became unforgettable. You became the standard. You became the ghost that makes everyone else look like a cheap copy. Now they're out there dating, talking, pretending to move on. But every single person they meet is being measured against you. And every single one falls short. They're trying desperately to convince themselves they're fine. They're posting pictures with new people, new places, new adventures, trying to make it look like happiness, like moving on, like losing you didn't shatter their world. But you can see it, can't you? Look closely and you'll notice the emptiness behind the smile, the performance in the laugh, the desperation in how hard they try to prove they don't need you. Because people who are genuinely happy don't need to stage it. People who are truly over you don't need to make sure you know it. Every post, every story, every curated image is just another brick in the wall of regret that's crushing them. And you want to know the exact moment it all changed for them? It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't some cinematic scene where they saw you across a crowded room looking incredible. It was quieter than that, crueler than that. It was the slow, painful realization built from 1,000 tiny moments when the person they replaced you with did something, said something, or failed to do something, and their mind whispered, "That's not how you would have done it. You would have understood. They would have known. They would have cared." That's the thought that keeps echoing in their head. It's hearing someone talk and realizing the conversation has no depth, no spark, no challenge, just noise. It's standing in a crowded room surrounded by people and still feeling utterly alone because none of them see them the way you did. It's waking up next to someone and feeling nothing. It's cracking a joke and being met with a blank stare instead of that specific laugh that once made everything feel right. It's reaching for connection and finding performance, searching for meaning and finding emptiness, longing for magic and finding routine. And slowly, painfully, the truth started to seep through the cracks in their denial. You weren't just different, you were better. You weren't just special, You were irreplaceable. And in their arrogance, in their blindness, in their refusal to see what was right in front of them, they let you go. Now the memories won't leave them alone. Every conversation, every moment, every time you showed up when no one else did, it all replays in brutal clarity. They remember how you understood without words, how you saw through their walls and loved them anyway. They remember how you challenged them to be better, how you gave them a kind of care, attention, and depth that they thought was normal. They thought everyone loved like that. They thought real connection was easy to find. They were wrong, and now they know it. Now they feel it. Now they're drowning in the reality that what they had with you was once in a lifetime, and they treated it like it was nothing. But what's truly eating them alive isn't just that they miss you. It's that, for the first time, they're seeing you clearly, without ego, without fear, without the lies they told themselves to justify losing you. They're realizing you're not the person they diminished in their mind to make walking away easier. You're not the too much they couldn't handle. You're not the flaw they magnified to quiet their guilt. You are brilliant. You are rare. You are the kind of person who happens once and never again. And now, when it's far too late, now that you've moved on, closed the door, and thrown away the key, they're watching from a distance, stunned, because you're not broken. You're not waiting. You're not defined by their absence. You're thriving. You're glowing. You're evolving into the best version of yourself, and that's what's destroying them. They thought losing them would break you. They thought you'd fall apart. They thought you needed them more than they needed you, but you proved them wrong in the most devastating way possible. You showed them you never needed them at all. You chose them, and when they showed you they didn't value that choice, you chose differently. You chose yourself, and the version of you that chose yourself is flourishing. Every photo, every update, every glimpse into your life now cuts them like glass because you look free. You look unburdened, untangled from the weight they used to be. And that's the cruelest realization of all. They weren't adding to your life. They were holding it back. You weren't hard to love. They just didn't know how. You weren't too much. They were too little. And now, whether you're shining for someone new or simply for yourself, they finally understand with brutal clarity that they were never your ceiling. They were your floor. And you've been rising ever since you walked away. Right now, they're stuck in a pathetic, painful loop, comparing, obsessing, replaying. The person they're with now, they're fine, nice even. But do they get the references? Do they understand the silence? Do they know when to push and when to stay still? No, because they're not you. The new friends, the new routines, the new version of their life, it all feels hollow. It's missing the one thing that made everything feel real. Your energy, your presence, your rare and irreplaceable way of seeing the world and seeing them. They're living through moments now that they wish you were there to see. They're experiencing new things, visiting new places, learning lessons they can't help but want to share with you. Their first instinct is still to tell you, to hear your take, to make you part of it. And then reality hits. You're gone. You're no longer theirs to share those moments with. You're not part of their world anymore. And that absence, it's not fading with time. It's getting heavier, because time isn't healing this wound, it's deepening it. Every day that passes only sharpens their understanding of what they lost. Every sunrise brings another wave of realization. The space you used to fill can't be replaced, can't be patched, can't be fixed. It's permanent. It's forever. What they never understood when they had you was how much of a choice your love was. You didn't just fall for them once. You chose them every single day. When they were complicated, you chose them. When they were uncertain, insecure, lost, you still chose them. When they were at their lowest, unlovable, distant, self-destructive, you stayed. You saw their chaos and chose them anyway. And in their arrogance, they mistook that consistency for weakness. They confused your loyalty with neediness. They misread your devotion as desperation. They believed your love was something common, something easily replaced. But now that they're out there searching for it again, they're learning the truth the hard way. Love like yours doesn't come around twice. And the timing of their realization? It's poetic in the cruelest way possible, because you're done. You're not waiting for them to come to their senses. You're not checking their profile, not wondering what if, not holding on to hope. You've moved on, not in the fake, performative way they're pretending to, but in the deep, quiet, real way. You've reached the place where they don't cross your mind anymore, where their name doesn't sting, where their memory doesn't steal your peace. You're free of them, completely, totally, irreversibly free. And they can feel it. That freedom is what's killing them. They sense the distance, the finality, the way your silence has power now. So they're trying to reach out in small, cowardly ways, liking an old photo, posting something vague that's clearly meant for you, sending messages through mutual friends, orchestrating accidental run-ins that aren't accidents at all. They're testing the waters, looking for any sign that you might still care, that there's still a crack in the door. But every time you don't respond, every time your silence stays unshaken, it hits them again. They lost you for good. Every time you prove that you're genuinely, absolutely, and completely done with them, it crushes them a little more. Every time your silence stays steady, every time you don't flinch, don't respond, don't fall for the bait, another piece of their ego cracks. It's another brick on their chest, another weight pressing down, another suffocating realization that they fumbled something they can never get back. And deep down they know they deserve it. Every ounce of that pain, every sleepless night, every pang of regret that twists in their stomach. Because this isn't something that just happened. This is the direct consequence of their own choices. They built this outcome themselves. One careless action, one selfish decision, one dismissive comment at a time. You want to know what it looks like in their quiet moments now? It's not peace. It's torment. It's endless rewinds of everything they did wrong. They're replaying the late-night arguments where they chose pride over love. They're replaying the moments where you reached out for reassurance and they shrugged you off. They're replaying the mornings where you were kind and patient and they were cold and distracted. Every conversation, every choice, every time they failed to see you, it's all playing back in their mind with brutal cinematic clarity. They're finally hearing the words you said, but this time without the noise of their own ego drowning you out. Now they see how many times you warned them. Not always with words, sometimes with your tone, your silence, your tired eyes. They see all the times you gave them a chance to step up, to meet you halfway, to choose you back. And they didn't. They see all the ways they made you feel small when, in reality, you were the biggest thing that ever happened to them. They see how they let you carry the weight of the relationship alone while they coasted, thinking you'd always be there to hold it up. And now they understand, well, you won't. They can't go back. They can't undo the damage. They can't charm, beg, or apologize their way through this because some endings are absolute. Some doors, once closed, don't reopen. You gave them everything, your patience, your effort, your forgiveness. And when you finally stopped, that was the moment the story truly ended. But the punishment they're living through now isn't just regret. It's recognition. They're seeing you everywhere. They're meeting new people, and those people remind them of you in fragments, a laugh, a gesture, a perspective. And every reminder feels like a stab because it's never actually you. It's a faint echo, a shadow, a poor imitation of something real. You set a standard without even trying. You created a template for what connection should feel like, what real understanding sounds like, what genuine love looks like. And now they're out there chasing ghosts, searching for even a trace of what they had with you, and failing miserably every single time. Because it turns out what they had with you wasn't common. It wasn't a type. It was once. And once doesn't happen again. They're starting to realize the full weight of that truth. You were not an experience. You were the experience. You were the turning point, the before and after moment. And now everything that comes after you feels dull, feels pale, feels like pretending. They thought they were the prize. That's the part that eats them alive the most. They really believed they were the one with the upper hand. They walked around like you were lucky to have them, like their attention was something you had to earn. They thought your devotion was dependence. They thought your loyalty was weakness. They thought your love was something easy, something they could take and still walk away from without consequence. But now they understand how wrong they were. Humiliatingly, devastatingly wrong. Because the truth has finally settled in. You were the prize. You were the one who brought depth, substance, and light into their life. You were the one who made ordinary days feel alive. You were the one who saw through their facade and loved what was real underneath. And they, in their blindness, in their immaturity, in their staggering lack of awareness, let you go like it meant nothing. They treated you like an option when you were the only choice that ever truly mattered. And now they're living with that mistake, a mistake that will follow them for the rest of their life. Every relationship from this point on will carry your ghost. Every person they date will be compared to you, and none of them will measure up. They'll meet people who are kind, attractive, successful, even emotionally available, and still feel an emptiness they can't explain. They'll tell themselves they're happy, but that quiet ache will never leave because none of them will have your fire. None will have your energy, your insight, your balance of softness and strength. None of them will see them the way you did, with full understanding and no judgment. You set the bar, and you didn't just set it high, you set it specifically. And that's the curse they carry now. They'll keep chasing people who remind them of you, only to find that every comparison ends in disappointment because what they lost wasn't just love. It was alignment, authenticity, truth. You didn't just fit into their life. You made it make sense. And now, without you, nothing fits. Everything feels forced, fake, a poor imitation of what once was. So every time they see you thriving, every smile, every picture, every trace of your growth, it cuts them deeper because you're proof of what they threw away. You're the living reminder that they had something extraordinary, something real, something rare, and they let it slip right through their hands. And the cruelest part? They'll never get a second chance at it. You're gone, and they're left with nothing but the echo of your absence and the unbearable truth that they will never ever find another you. None of them see them the way you did. None of them ever will. No one else will be able to look at them and instantly know what's going on behind their eyes. No one will be able to sense the difference between their silence and their withdrawal, or between their sadness and their indifference the way you could. No one will understand the language they speak without words, the glances, the small shifts in energy, the subtle tones that only you could translate effortlessly. None of them will love them the way you did, with that rare blend of patience and fire, of tenderness and truth. They'll meet good people, kind, intelligent, loving people. And for a while, they'll try to convince themselves it's working. They'll tell themselves this new person is right, that this is stability, that this is growth. They'll go on dates, take trips, share laughs, but the laughter will sound different. It won't echo the same way. It won't fill the silence like yours did. And little by little they'll start to feel it again. That dull ache in the chest, that quiet dissonance they can't name. Because deep down, they'll know what's missing. It's you. And so it will happen again. They'll end